We're back for our MLB All Star Game best bets here on the channel. Today is the All Star Game in Atlanta, Georgia. Yesterday, our best bets for the Home Run Derby, didn't really go our way. You know, it is what it is. It's a Home Run Derby. I don't know. James Wood, we'll get to that later. James Wood will be talked about in today's video. Cal Raleigh won the Derby. I didn't see it coming. I guess, the odds-on favorite got it. So good for Cal Raleigh. It is what it is. We move now to the All-Star Game, the main event for All-Star Weekend. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel. Tomorrow and Thursday, no MLB. I think tomorrow I'm going to do probably a Nationals off-season video or projected opening day lineup for 2026 video. And then on Thursday, I'll do a trade deadline type video. So stay tuned to the channel for that until we get back to our MLB best bets on Friday. Also this week on Greedo Plays MMA, our UFC 318 predictions, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier in the main event, and PFL Africa predictions, Johnny Eblin and Costello Venstines in the main event. Go make sure to check out both those videos. They are linked in the description down below, and go subscribe to Greedo Plays MMA while you're at it as well. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets. You'll see the format of this. Basically, I'm going 4 player props and 1 other play. You'll see the other play at the end of the video. There is a trend we are following here. You can probably pick up on it pretty quickly. You'll see. First best bet of the video, Paul Skeens plus 145, 3 up, 3 down. Now, I need to start this best bet by saying this is kind of my dart. It's not that crazy of a dart play, but this is the one. Okay, manage your units on 3 up, 3 down for Paul Skeens. Okay, if there's one unconventional looking bet today, I personally believe this is, I think they're all, very good bets. If I had to rank them, this is 5th, okay? And we do have bets that are even higher odds than this, but personally, I would rank this 5th out of the 5 bets. Paul Skeens to go 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first inning. The matchups, we know them. We know both of the lineups for the American and National League. Paul Skeens will see Gleyber Torres, Riley Green, and Aaron Judge, 1, 2, 3 to kick off this game. I am under the belief that Paul Skeens is going to get these first 3 outs. Again, he doesn't need to strike everybody out. We just need to get 3 up, 3 down in this inning. If you recall last year in the top of the first, Paul Skeens did all right. Actually, bottom of the first in Texas. He walked Juan Soto to eventually get to Aaron Judge in the 4th spot. But up until Juan, right, Skeens got the first 2 outs. I'm looking at the first 2 outs he's going to have to get today. No disrespect to the Detroit Tigers. I think that's an incredible baseball team. They are on a 3-game losing streak going into the break, but I think that's an incredible baseball team. I've been hyping up Detroit all year long. I believe Paul Skeens is going to get Gleyber Torres and Riley Green. I really think so, right? And then it comes down to Paul Skeens, Aaron Judge. It was a matchup we saw last year. I'm okay with it again. I think Paul Skeens is going to be more than fine in a matchup again with Aaron Judge. This is the best pitcher in baseball. And sure, it's an all-star game. It's, 1 inning that Skeens is going to pitch. Obviously, every pitcher is only going to pitch 1 inning today. I understand that. This is the best guy in the league. This is his 2nd year in the MLB. It's his 2nd All-Star game and 2nd start in the All-Star game as well. The dude is special, and he's going to establish that here on national television in the All-Star game. Again, Gleyber Torres, great hitter. Riley Green, great hitter. Aaron Judge, obviously the best hitter in baseball, but they are facing off against the best pitcher in baseball, Paul Skeens. He's got the best ERA, or the lowest ERA out of any qualified starting pitcher in baseball. 2.01 for Skeens. 131 strikeouts, that's 8th in baseball. .93 whip, that is 5th out of all qualified pitchers. He's got a 4-8 record, where I know, Fox or ESPN showed the face-off or, the side-by-side comparison, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens. Skeens has got the better ERA, but yet, he's got a 4-8 record. It's just ridiculous. But, hey, Paul Skeens is pitching today for a team that's actually probably going to get him run support and an actual competent lineup behind him. We're not going to get any slow rollers to third that keep Brian Hayes, who normally is a good fielder, just can't get to. Yes, I am not going to forget about that Minnesota start, where the Pirates should have, it should have been a 1-1 game when Skeens left. But it is what it is, right? Skeens is going to have a really good defense behind him. Gleyber, I think that's I'm not going to call it an easy out because it's the All-Star game, but I think Skeens is going to get that out. I think he's going to get Riley Green, and obviously the biggest challenge for us comes with Aaron Judge. But I do think even at the odds that we are getting this at, plus 145, I believe Paul Skeens, the best pitcher in baseball, is going to be able to go 3 up, 3 down. Again, manage your units wisely for this play because I do understand, relatively speaking, to the rest of the bets that we're going to play today. And yes, there are some bets that odds-wise are going to be higher than this. I believe this is the toughest one to hit. just because for as good as Skeens is, and I will hype Skeens up, and I do firmly believe he's the best pitcher in baseball, there are all-star hitters on the other side, and also the best hitters from the American League, albeit because they're batting 1, 2, 3. I still think Skeens gets it done. There's a reason he's got a 2 ERA this season. The guy's elite, best pitcher in baseball. Paul Skeens goes 3 up, 3 down to kick off the All-Star Game in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, our second best bet of the video is Shohei Ohtani to get 1 hit. It might be a public play. I don't know how public the Paul Skeens 3 up, 3 down play is going to be. I do believe Shohei is going to get a hit in this game. I do think so. I understand that Ohtani may only get 2 at-bats. He might get 3. We will see. And that's why, obviously, the line is at plus 100, and it's going to be, we're going to have other hit props coming up in the video. And obviously, right, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle because it's an all-star game, and who knows how many at-bats each guy is going to get. I can assure you that Shohei Ohtani is going to get at least 2. The reserves, we'll talk about later, we're going to have to hope for 2. And there is a trend I'm going to continue to follow, at least throughout the course of this game, that makes me think that we are going to, get our reserves some at-bats. But again, I'll get to that later. Shohei Ohtani likely, we know his first at-bat's going to be Tarek Skubal. Okay. Ohtani is batting first for the National League. I'll just go 1, 2, 3. It is Ohtani, Acuna, Marte. Freddie Freeman's in the 4. Okay. Lefty, Ohtani, Tarek Skubal. That's best versus best. I get that. Where I'm looking, though, for Shohei Ohtani to get his hit, I think our first at-bat, I don't want to call it house money because it's not, but I believe that first at-bat, it is what it is. If we get it there, we get it. The second at-bat's where I'm looking to do damage. I look at what the American League is going to have in the bullpen this game. It's not that great because all of their elite guys in the American League aren't pitching. Hunter Brown not playing in this game. Garrett Crochet not pitching. Jacob deGrom not pitching. Lefties that could give Ohtani problems. Max Fried, Yusei Kikuchi, both just pitched for their major league squads. So I look at the guys out the bullpen, man. The relief pitchers, really good. Bubich, Chapman, Hader. However, those guys probably won't see Shohei Ohtani. Because those guys aren't going, Bubich might. But Chapman and Hader, those are 2 relievers who probably won't see Ohtani. And even if it is Bubich, okay, I like Chris Bubich a lot. Shout out to the Cupertino, California native. I think that's a matchup Ohtani can 100% win. And then I look at the rest of the pitchers for the American League. Andres Munoz probably won't be pitching early. Likely it's going to be a Casey Mize or a Joe Ryan or a Brian Wu, probably a Brian Wu, or a Shane Smith or a Drew Rasmussen. All right, if it's Carlos Rodon, it is what it is. There's great opportunity here for Ohtani in a second at-bat. That's where I firmly believe Ohtani's going to be able to get this hit. But even in the first, right, it could happen. It could happen against Skubal. But let's not forget what Ohtani's doing at the plate this season. I've called it an off year for Ohtani because it actually kind of is. He is still tremendous. He is the best all-around player in the sport. For as much as I do not like the Los Angeles Dodgers, Ohtani is still the best player in baseball, other than James Wood. But anyways, Ohtani this season at the dish, in an off year for him, he's batting .276. He's still obviously leading off in the All Star Game, partially because Dave Roberts is the manager. But Ohtani would lead off for anybody. 32 home runs, RBI doesn't matter in this case, 60. But still, right? We just need Ohtani to get a single. We don't need bases like we do throughout the course of the regular season. We just need him to get on base any way possible, other obviously than a walk or a hit by pitch. I don't think Scubal's walking him, and you don't get many walks in the All Star Game. You just don't. Pitchers are throwing strikes. Ultimately, yes, they are still trying to beat each other. The end result doesn't really matter, and guys are trying to get quick outs. Pitchers don't want to have to pitch 30 pitch innings in the All-Star game just because it's an All-Star game. So I believe Ohtani's going to get pitches to hit regardless if it is Tarek Skubal or it is a pitcher later in the game. Again, there is a pitcher who I think we're going to see in this game at some point in time, which really favors the National League, in my opinion. It's Shane Smith. I'll get to that later. But for Shohei Ohtani, right, the big at-bat for us is going to be the second. We will see who it's going to be against. But, hey, if he gets against Tarek Skubal, he does. The league wants Shohei Ohtani in a great position, okay? If you believe in the MLB is rigged type stuff or all sports is rigged, which I don't entirely do, and especially in a case like this, it's hard to rig a guy getting a hit because it's baseball. But if you are under that crowd, okay, well, it's Shohei Ohtani in the All-Star game. He's on the Dodgers. Probably will get a hit then. Again, I'm not buying into that belief, but I do believe, right, Ohtani, I like the matchup for him the second time around. I think there's a very good chance, looking at the roster for the American League, Ohtani's going to see a righty. A Casey Mize, great pitcher, but I'd like Ohtani in that spot. Casey Mize, Drew Rasmussen, Joe Ryan, Brian Wu. I mean, those are matchups I'd be fine with Ohtani getting. He's not going to see any of these hard-throwing relievers. I think Ohtani's going to be great. Again, he is, the face of the sport for a reason. Ohtani should come through for us. Shohei Ohtani to get one hit in the All Star game. It is plus 100 for Shohei. Our third best bet of the video is our Washington Nationals best bet of the day. Just because it's the All Star game does not mean we get to shy away from our Nationals best bet, James Wood, to get one hit in this game. He got royally robbed in the home run derby. And I'll get to that in a little bit, not because of any rules or whatnot. It's because his pitcher, Ricky Gutierrez. Why was Gutierrez pitching? I don't know, but I'll get to that later. Okay, so James Wood is not an alternate. He's a reserve for this game, which is just, it's stupid. It's stupidity that he's not starting this baseball game. Don't get me started on it, but like the starting outfielders for the National League are Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Ronald Acuna Jr. Okay, with all due respect, I think James Wood is having a better season than Kyle Tucker. I guess you could say PCA is having a better season. Maybe I would still take Wood. And then Acuna, sure, his numbers are great. Acuna has played a month and a half less than everybody else. So that should be James Wood's spot in this, starting in the All-Star game. I hate that Dave Roberts already has a nickname for James Wood. I'm concerned. But anyways, Wood, I feel like he's going to be super motivated for this spot. After yesterday, where I'm not going to say he got embarrassed because obviously he didn't, and also Jazz Chisholm was in the home run derby as well. We all got a good laugh out of that one. I like Jazz. I'm joking. But I think he's going to come through in this spot. The guy hits the ball so damn hard, and no matchup for James Wood is a bad matchup. And a point that I'm going to continue to make, even when we get into our next best bet, which is another hit prop, spoiler, it's for the National League as well. I don't like what's coming out the American League bullpen. And okay, when James Wood's going to be hitting, right? Probably there's a good chance he'll see a reliever, but okay, Aroldis Chapman, that's power on power, Don't mind it for James Wood. Josh Hader, I think James Wood's okay in that spot. The matchup I want, okay, is Shane Smith. I think Shane Smith's going to pitch in the game. Because, again, I don't know how this game is going to be managed. Obviously, I have no way of knowing. But I do believe that Aaron Boone, I don't know what Aaron Boone's thinking, but I gotta think that every team is going to get somewhat of representation in this game, right? So a team, hell, I'll pull, who's got a starting pitcher who, in the American League that's also, has a teammate that is Brian Wu. A perfect example, Brian Wu, okay, right? Cal Raleigh's already pitching is already hitting fourth and obviously playing catcher for the Seattle Mariners and the American League. Okay. If he's starting the game and Brian Wu's out the bullpen and the American League gets to a spot where it's like, all right, we have the 7th inning or say the 6th inning or whatnot, and Cal Raleigh's, now coming out the game, we're going to get the other catcher in, which is Alejandro Kirk. Let's go to the bullpen. Brian Wu or Shane Smith. They're going to go to Shane Smith because we got to get some representation for the White Sox here, right? That isn't always a trend that happens in the All-Star game, but it does happen some. So again, if it's either Brian Wu or Shane Smith or who's another guy out the bullpen, Casey Mize, because Tarek Screwball pitched, right? They're going to go to Shane Smith. Also, Shane Smith over a guy like a Casey Mize, because Shane Smith was an automatic pick to this All-Star game. He's not a replacement guy. He was picked initially, obviously, because the White Sox need an All-Star. No disrespect to Shane Smith. I've actually pulled for Shane Smith of the White Sox pitching core quite a bit this year. The All-Star should be Sean Burke, but it's okay. Shane Smith's having a really rough go of it right now. He just is. 4.26 ERA. Shane Smith has not been good recently. He's giving up 1 million runs and 1 million hits. That's an opportunity for not just James Wood, but our next hitter that we're going to be playing for one hit to really take advantage, okay? I'm really hoping we get the Shane Smith spot. If not, okay, it's fine. James Wood, I like James Wood against any pitcher in baseball. But Shane Smith's a pitcher who's coming off a 5.6 ERA in the month of June and a 9.75 ERA in the month of July. Again, hold on to this. We're going to reference this multiple times throughout the rest of the video. That's one of the many reasons why I like James Wood again. I don't fear any matchup with him. I feel like he's got to bounce back after yesterday, and if we get Shane Smith, that's an added bonus. Now, for the home run derby yesterday, I think the Nationals should have just called up their old pal Lucas Sims and said, hey man, you want to throw to James Wood for the home run derby? Because Lucas Sims was just BP throughout the season for the Nationals, instead of Ricky Gutierrez, who single-handedly robbed James Wood of his moment in the home run derby. Completely robbed James Wood. What are we doing? We're throwing this guy high and inside. We're jamming him on every single pitch. What does Ricky Gutierrez do? He doesn't even coach third base right. He doesn't even, he blindly sends guys to the plate throughout the season and holds guys up on easy send calls. And somehow he gets the assignment to pitch the home run derby for James Wood. And he does a horrific job. And what makes it worse is that James Wood was one home run away from advancing to the Final Four. He did not have a good round because he had to take 7 pitches because of Ricky Gutierrez. But if he hit one more home run, so if Gutierrez had made one better pitch placement, James Wood would have been in the second round because he would have the tiebreaker over the eventual winner, Cal Raleigh, and Brent Rooker because he hit longer home runs than those two guys. It's just a damn shame that Gutierrez couldn't get his act together. He embarrassed James Wood on national television. All this hype for James Wood, which 100% is real. He is all the hype that he deserves, that he's getting. But my goodness, Ricky Gutierrez, you couldn't help our guy out. James Wood, unfortunately, now has followed the trend of Bryce Harper and Juan Soto. Both of those two lost their first home run derby. Hell, they both won their second. Maybe James Wood does the thing next year in Philadelphia. But again, what does Ricky Gutierrez even do? I mean, we couldn't get Parra to throw. You know, I get it would have been lefty-lefty. Sean Doolittle can throw. It would have been a lefty-lefty spot. But I mean, why is Ricky Gutierrez your guy? And it looked like Ricky Gutierrez hadn't even been practicing. He looked worse than Bryce Harper's dad did in the final round that Bryce Harper had back in 2018. Admittedly, Harper's dad eventually pulled through, obviously. Regardless, it is what it is. James Wood, he'll be fine. Face of the sport, just robbed of his moment last night. Hey, he gets into that Final Four. He wins it just like Cal Raleigh does. Just saying. Anyways, James Wood get a hit, plus 155. Same odds for our guy, Kyle Stowers. Kyle Stowers to get a hit, plus 155. This is a guy that not many people know of just because he plays in the Miami Marlins. I've been kind of hyping up Kyle Stowers quite a bit recently for good reason. The guy's really good. Kyle Stowers is batting .295 this season. He has 19 home runs. He's been a very good hitter all year long for the Miami Marlins, and he's coming off a game in which he hit 3 home runs in Baltimore against the Baltimore Orioles. Stowers is on a run right now, and again, you might not have heard of it, which is fine, but sneakily right now, the Miami Marlins have a really solid young core, and Stowers is kind of, you know, in the middle of all that, right? Xavier Edwards is having a good year. I really like Agustin Ramirez. Jesus Sanchez likely a trade candidate, but they've just got guys. Otto Lopez is hitting the ball really well this season. Stowers, you can make the case for a couple guys being an all-star, but Kyle Stowers 100%, made his claim, and obviously he was announced as an all-star much earlier, but on Sunday, the final game before the all-star break, my goodness, 5 for 5 with 3 home runs and 6 RBI. Stowers is a .293 hitter. Sure, his average went up 12 points after his 5 for 5 performance up in Baltimore. But again, like I mentioned with James Wood, if we get the Shane Smith matchup with Kyle Stowers, sign me up. You know, that's kind of what I'm looking for here, right? Not to say Stowers can't get it done against other pitchers, because Stowers is a guy that you just might not have heard about having such a good year. He had a really good start to the year in April, cooled down in the middle months in the summer, but in July so far, Stowers is hot. Batting .390 in the month of July with 6 home runs, albeit half of them came in his last game against the Orioles. But this is a guy, if he gets a hold of one, I mean, balls are mashed. I always talk about the Marlins, too. I love the exit velo out of Agustin Ramirez. I love the way Hernandez hits the ball. You know, I like Otto Lopez and I like Xavier Edwards. Those guys just find, spots. They especially X. Like, he finds ways to get the ball down. Kyle Stowers comes in there and just rips things, Again, one more time, we can look at who the American League is pitching with all these replacements and with the main guys out. No Crochet, no DeGrom, no Fried. You really get pitchers who are good pitchers, don't get me wrong. But you get Drew Rasmussen, who's having a good season, but is Rasmussen, elite? No, he's a good all-star pitcher. He's not elite, though. Casey Mize, really good. Elite? Joe Ryan, really good. Is he elite? Shane Smith, he is the White Sox pitcher, so he has to be in there, right? Now, you look at these reserves, too, and this also applies to James Wood. I think the reserves are going to get 2 at-bats, because the way I see this game going, and if you couldn't tell, the trend that I am playing today is that the National League wins the baseball game. And the National League ultimately has their way. And it starts with Paul Skeens pitching well, and then it continues with just the National League taking advantage of American League pitchers not named Tarek Skubal. I don't think they're going to score in the first, right? But as that game goes on, that's where I think the National League sees more and more success. Because there's no one who's coming out the bullpen that really just goes, oh, like, I'm really scared of them. Like, Andres Munoz might be the closest thing to that. But no Hunter Brown, no Crochet, no DeGrom, no Fried. Yeah, Fried, I wouldn't be concerned about, really. But I think this is great for Kyle Stowers, and I think that both Ohtani, who's a starter, and both of the reserves that we picked today, both with Wood and Stowers, should be afforded multiple opportunities at the plate. You give these All-Stars 2 at-bats, I'm going to, again, we hope we get all 3, but if we can just cash 2 of these 3, we're in the positive for the hitter props, right? Again, we're hoping we hit all 3 of these, obviously. But we just got to find our spots here, and I do think Kyle Stowers is going to get a hit in his first ever All-Star game. I think, again, it's going to probably be against a guy like Shane Smith. I could easily see, guys, in this game, James Wood being pinch hit for, I could easily see James Wood being pinch hit for Ohtani, just DHing, and then I could see Stowers being DH'd in left field for Acuna. So Wood's batting first and Stowers is batting second. I could easily see that, and our guys will get more opportunities, right? Regardless, I do think both of these guys, Wood and Stowers, are going to get 2 at-bats. I'm trusting in the young core of the National League East. Wood and Stowers will get us hits. Kyle Stowers, plus 155, same odds as James Wood to get a hit in his first ever All-Star game. Our final best bet of the video is National League money line at minus 115. Again, we followed a trend and we followed a certain pattern this entire video, and why not end it with, end it with the main play of all of this, is that the National League, I think, is going to win this baseball game. I know historically, and over the last 15 seasons, last 10 seasons, no, 15 really, the American League has been dominant. You can really mark that back to the last 17 years. I believe in the last 17 years, the American League is 4-13 in the All-Star game. Sorry, 13-4 in the All-Star game, making the National League obviously 4-13. The National League had their run from 2010 to 2012 where they won 3 straight games, only for the American League to win every game from 2013 to 2022, where the National League ended up winning in 2023, where oddly enough, Elias Diaz won, All-Star Game MVP, and then last year, obviously at Globe Life, it was won by the American League 5-3. I'm here to tell you right now that I think that the National League is going to win the baseball game. I just look and compare these 2 rosters. First of all, starting lineups. The National League has the better starting lineup. Ohtani, Acuna, Marte, Freeman, Machado, Smith, Tucker, Lindor, PCA. Compare that to the American League. The AL's got guys, it's just not the same level. And there are Javier Baez. Great player, having a good season to see an All-Star Game starter, And that is just the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. But still, I'm taking the National League lineup over Glaber, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Vlad Guerrero, Ryan O'Hearn, Junior Caminero, Javier Baez, and Jacob Wilson, right? Love Jacob Wilson, by the way. That's a guy who should really be batting second instead of ninth, but it is okay. It's whatever. He's young. He's got time. It's both that, and it's just the bullpens. Honestly, not even just the bullpens, too. Look at the reserves. I'll list off for you right now the American League reserves. Good players, but there are so many key guys that the American League could have, and they're very key. The top 2 are Jose Ramirez and Alex Bregman, who aren't playing in this game, right? Julio, I don't care that Julio's not playing. He would have struck out twice, and, it is what it is. But the reserves are just not as strong. Aranda having a great year. Byron Buxton, okay. Jazz Chisholm, is he really deserving of the spot? Alejandro Kirk, Stephen Kwan, great player. Not having his best season, let's just be honest. Brandon Lowe, Brent Rooker, Bobby Witt, Randy Rosarena, Junior Caminero, who's actually starting now, and Zach McKinstry. It's not a loaded bench. Their bullpen, we've gone over it. I don't think it's all that great. The National League reserves, it's a murderer's row. Just to name a few, I'll name all of them, but the key spots, Pete Alonso, Corbin Carroll, Tatis, James Wood, Kyle Stowers. On top of that, you bring in Ellie De La Cruz. Brendan Donovan, who's having a tremendous season. Hunter Goodman is having a great season this year, especially actually away from Coors Field that nobody's talking about. Matt Olson, Eugenio Suarez, who jacks the baseball. And then look at the bullpen for the National League. With the exception of Clayton Kershaw, which don't get me wrong, Clayton Kershaw, he's not the level of Shane Smith, but Kershaw is the National League's Shane Smith today. Where it's, okay, every hitter on the American League is going to be hunting Clayton Kershaw. Because let's just be honest, Kershaw's good. He's having a good season. He's not having an all-star caliber season, though. He's the legend pick, obviously. But just look at this NL bullpen. Jason Adams having a tremendous year for the Padres. Edwin Diaz, obviously. Randy Rodriguez is the best reliever in baseball. Adrian Morhone is a replacement pitcher out the pen, but he's been really good this year, right? And you look at the other guys too. The rest is just the bullpen / starters, right? Mackenzie Gore for first All-Star appearance. Logan Webb, Robert Suarez. How can I forget about the bullpen? Andrew Abbott, Trevor McGill, David Peterson, Jacob Mizorowski. Again, is Mizorowski undeserved of this spot? Oh, 100% yes. Is Mizorowski still going to be extremely effective in the All-Star game? Oh yeah, he is. I have a feeling they're going to go Mizorowski in the second inning. It's a big talking point. Oh, Mizorowski shouldn't be in the game. Oh, he shouldn't. This should be Christopher Sanchez's spot, but it's all about making money. Go Paul Skeens and then Jacob Mizorowski in the second inning, 100%, and go out there and put your two young pitchers, both pitching in the National League Central. One will likely be in the National League West very soon, but anyways, probably next year or in 2 years. But get your two young faces of the sport, at least pitching-wise, out and going early in the game when the most people are watching. And then we close the game off with Edwin Diaz and those damn trumpets getting us the 3 outs. I think the National League wins the game. Again, we've followed the trend, or we've just followed this, we followed this, I don't want to call it a trend, but just a wave of, all right, I really think the National League is going to dominate this baseball game, and it's going to flip, and a historical trend we've seen over the last 17 years that has been nothing but American League domination, right? The National League has won the All-Star game once in the last 12 seasons, and that was in 2023 in Seattle at T-Mobile Park. I do think today is different. I believe, again, I look at what the American League has and their pullouts. I believe the National League is just simply better tonight. And I think the NL is going to win the All-Star game. They are favored to win it. They are at home. If it goes to extra innings, it is the home run derby tiebreaker, which is something. I don't know entirely how that works, but I believe it's just 2 hitters from each, or 1 hitter from each squad gets to hit home runs, obviously, or do a little derby. I don't even know who would hit for the National League, because it would definitely be Cal Raleigh for the American League. National League, I'm so serious, probably James Wood or Kyle Schwarber. It'd probably be Wood, though, because Wood's been preparing for a derby. They'd probably go Wood over Schwarber. That would be interesting. I'd love to see a James Wood versus Cal Raleigh swing off to end the night, because I'm thinking about it, like, everyone who was really good in the derby was from the American League. So they might go Olsen because, hometown Atlanta. Anyways, love to see it, but definitely the National League, I think, is going to get it done. Real quickly, I'm going to talk about the MLB draft. So, again, if you want to hear it, it is what it is. I'm just going to talk about the Nats picks because, again, we talk about the Nats all the time. But if, again, you're here for the best bets, which most of you are, like 95% of you are, thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. We'll be back again for I'll have a national-specific video tomorrow, and then we'll do a trade deadline video on Thursday before the best bets get back up, either on late Thursday night or early Friday morning. I don't know when the odds are going to come out. So, one of the two. Anyways, the Nationals draft. All things considered, I don't think it was horrible. The Nationals obviously followed a trend in that draft, right? The Nationals followed a clear trend in the 2025 MLB draft. Was I happy with the Eli Willits pick? No. But I've accepted it. I am here to say, again, I've always said, I think Eli Willits is going to be a great player. I just didn't know him in comparison to Holiday. It is what it is. Willits is a Washington Nationals. I hope nothing but the best. I'm going to cheer for Eli Willits for the rest of his career until he gets traded at the deadline 4 years into his major league career, to San Diego or whatnot. But anyways, I'm going to cheer for Willits. I hope he's nothing but excellent for us. I think the Nationals really hit on late day 2, or early day 2, and their late pick on day 1. We talked about it yesterday. But the 2 picks I want to really zone in on right now are Miguel Sime Jr. and Coy James. Miguel Sime Jr. has all the makings of being an absolute monster at the major league level eventually. He's 18 years old, 6'4", 235, was committed to Louisiana State. He throws high 90s and consistently throws about 98, 99 miles an hour on his fastball. He can get to the 100s. This is a guy who at 15 years of age could throw 95 miles an hour. This guy has all the makings. We said yesterday, right? We had potentially our next Travis Sikora. Here is our next Jarlin Susana. And again, Sikora and Susana need to get to the show eventually in their own right. Miguel Sime has all the making of being an absolute unit as a starting pitcher. Another really good pick for the Nationals in the 4th round. I know what you're thinking. Oh, they couldn't have done that with Holiday. Maybe that's the case, okay? And I will give credit to where credit is due. I think the Nationals really landed with their 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks. The rest of the draft, I don't know. There was an obvious strategy here. Draft young prep guys early and then go late in the draft college bats and power hitting college bats because they went to 1 million first basemen. The next guy we need to talk about is Coy James. If Coy James signs, I'm not going to tell you I think, again, it was 100% worth it than to go Willits. Even though, again, I think Willits is going to be good. If they can actually get Coy James to sign on the dotted line, all right, I'm more than sold, right? And my thing one more time with Eli Willits. It's not like I've ever denied his potential and his potential to be great. I didn't know about it being a number 1 overall pick. That is it, when I think it should have been Holiday. Anyways, Coy James is all the making to be really good. This was supposed to be a late 1st round pick who ultimately was just, too much for teams to draft in terms of money. So James is a guy in his senior year of high school, batted .605 if I'm not mistaken. Power numbers aren't entirely there, which I was, again, concerned with Willits with, but this is a guy who's going to hit the ball up the middle, he's going to make clean contact. Again, I don't know if he's going to sign. For the most part, about high 90% of picks in the first 10 rounds do sign. I don't know if James is going to be that, though, because there is money 100% to be made for Coy James to potentially go to college and then be a 1st round pick next season. If the Nationals can land on Coy James, don't actually get him to sign on the dotted line, it's a success, man. It's a crazy success. Again, the Nationals had a strategy. Take young prep players, take power hitting first basemen, and take a lot of shortstops too. Ultimately, shortstops can play anywhere on the field. Hell, look at the guys the Nationals have had at shortstop before. I mean, Trey Turner used to play center field, obviously, before coming back to short. I mean, if you're a center fielder, you can fill a need anywhere. And if they can get Coy James to sign, who is a little bit older than Willits, but a guy who's going to go to college next year, if they can get him out of college and go straight to low A, to the Florida Complex League, I think it's a job very well done. The later college picks, I wasn't the most fond of, but it is what it is. I think the Nats overall had a good, not great draft. I think it was good. Was it better than a Mike Rizzo draft? Probably. So, gotta give DeBartolo and the Nats front office a lot of credit for that. My only thing and why I didn't like the Willits pick as well is all right, we've officially waved the flag for the next 4 years. I still remain adamant on the fact this team's not winning anything now. They have gone fully back into, they're back into committing to a rebuild that they already committed to back in 2021. So, that's my only thing where I'm a little bit mad because, guys, I'm sick of losing. But it seems like, again, the future should be bright, but I've heard this before. But at the same time, there's going to be no more winning, at least until, I think, 2029. So buckle up. Folks, thank y'all for watching our MLB Best Bets here for the Home Run Derby. If you haven't yet, though, make sure that subscribe button down below for more at Mamba Forever.